Well, hey there, everybody, and Happy New Year. We are on Friday, the 5th of January already. Hope your first week into 2024 has been powerful and exciting. I know there's big energies that I've been noticing, and others within my circles have been noticing. So I wanted to bring on a very interesting discussion today. Some of these things I've talked about in some of my classes and groups, programs, but there's information that, I just more needs to start sharing out through this avenue so that you guys are really aware of what's going on. And I try to share all I can and answer your questions. And this was a great question that was emailed to me, and I think Elijah's already on. He was like, I don't know if he was waiting for me all day. Sorry if I'm coming on late there or unexpectedly late. I wanted to be on about an hour or so ago, but this is just how it unfolds. So, moving into this, it was actually Elijah who earlier in the week said, hey, what's going on? I've noticed so much more presence with the solar lightning dragons. And many of you don't even know who solar lightning dragons are. It's a lineage of dragons that presented last March. And we talked about it in my groups, as I said. And so it's been very interesting in the last year that, and anyway, to finish that question, he asked the question, I said, I'll talk about that on a live this week, near the end of the week, because I'm also feeling an increase in solar dragons and flame dragons. And I've got the sun dragon picture here because I don't have a solar dragon image. Some of the dragons that have started presenting are newer since I did the deck. But similar energetic, but sun dragons and solar dragons are actually very different. So my immediate response to him was, wow, it's the solar lightning dragons. Yes, I feel them, but there's also this uptick with the solar and the flame dragons. So I need to explore what that's about so we can talk about it. So sitting with that, I went back to my notes on those dragons, but also just sat with this feeling and recognizing how after this solstice, we've really moved into an uptick in our alignment with our own central pillar, coming into our own merge space, with all of our interdimensional spheres, multidimensional spheres, all aspects of ourselves as we prepare for those that are ready. And the ascension process unfolds for each of us individually. And we hit an event horizon that moves us through specific gateways individually, even though it's all like adding up collectively where it's within a certain time frame. But the way our time operates, it from outside of it, it looks like a singularity, a singular moment, but within it, it's sort of expanded and stretched out because we're each hitting it, and how time is just so infinitesimally small that we could have 10 years here and it'd be like a pinprick of an external perspective point of it. So moving into this new gateways, many of us are starting to hit much higher frequency bandwidths. We're moving into full merge and alignment. Many of you are ready for this central pillar activation of your crystalline DNA that is a merge between your wisdom, love, and power centers, and that's pulling you into this really amplified field where your feminine and masculine pillars are coming into full merge. It's going back to that unified state that is our blueprint, that is our norm, that is what was the intended human blueprint before everything got skewed, distorted, messed with, and misaligned intentionally in order to drop so far in density. But now that we're getting back through these processes, all the energy starts shifting. So sitting with the solar lightning dragons, it's very interesting because the feminine in this cycle has been what has been subdued and controlled and really repressed energetically. And since the activation with the black female dragon rising up in 2018, it's been an ongoing, continuous process of that feminine coming back into her full stature and balance, and that the old skewed masculine has been able to drop away so that the true divine masculine is able to stand and meet her energetically. So when we look at that, what's very interesting about this uptick in solar lightning dragon presence is that if you have, let's imagine like a male-female or masculine-feminine union state on a universal scale or on a galactic scale, a very big like solar system scale, there's lineages of dragons that also correspond with and are guardians of that energy. So when the solar lightning dragons presented last March, it was the first time that we were ready to start moving into the fullness of that activation. and they presented with core fire dragons. So that was very interesting to me as well, because core fire dragons, you think, well, is that the core of the sun, the core of the earth? It's actually the core of any system that is being birthed through that. So core fire dragons are actually holding the divine masculine pillar, and the solar lightning dragons are as if they're the fuel. Like if you imagine a creation point and you have both fuel and creative spark, you've got the masculine and the feminine pillars there. And so the core fire dragons hold the fuel, and the solar lightning dragons hold the spark. And so that's the masculine and the feminine, and they pull those together. And so their presence coming forward is more of an energetic output. And so this is why I found it interesting when I was like, okay, so I feel the solar lightning dragon uptake. And when he asked that question, I was like, yes, but there's also the solar dragons and the flame dragons. So I sat with that and I was like, well, it absolutely makes sense, because the solar dragons, their whole work, as a lineage, they work to kick our sun, our greater central sun, and they also work in other systems in their greater central suns, right? That there's lineages of dragons that work in the higher octaves of systems. And so they work to kick our sun into its evolution, into a full electromagnetic energetic output. So our sun is functional. It's been in its own birthing process, and it's actually being amplified up towards its fullest potential, as are we. As it reaches its potential, we're able to reach ours, and vice versa. They work hand in hand to keep pushing the other up the spiral into those highest octaves. So here we've got the solar dragons really amping up our own the electromagnetic field of the sun. What does that do? It pushes out more solar flares, pushes out more big hot spots in the sun. It sends more activity, and that's documented. Like the whole energetic, and I'm for some reason blanking right now on that beautiful reading that they do, where the magnetic energy is usually around an 8 standard, and we keep hitting these apex points up in the hundreds, and it's like throwing people for a loop and throwing our systems off and throwing technology out on certain days. And so that uptick is bringing in a higher level of electromagnetic field energy, that as we have the solar lightning dragons come in to help amplify the octave that is the spark energy of the feminine, that's going to bring our own feminine up. It's bringing the planets up. It's bringing the whole cosmic and galactic and universal systems up notches vibrationally. So that's why they're more present. And the flame dragons, why are the flame dragons picking up their presence? They work more directly with us. The others work more directly in, like, as I was saying, like the higher octave of a system. They're setting up the parameters for the globe or the sphere that we're within to keep pushing in those vibrational levels. The flame dragons are actually more directly connected and working with us. Doesn't mean the others can't or won't, especially if you're connected to those lineages or the work they do. But when we connect with the flame dragons, they're about purification. And if you want to read more about them, pick up your little guidebooks in your deck, pull the card, purification, rebirth. They are the ones that really help bring us through into the testing grounds of what we're ready for. When we start working flame dragon purification, going into a rebirth, we almost feel frustrated because we feel like we're being tested. Like, am I ready to push through? Am I really asking for what I want? Am I being specific with the universe of where I want to head? And so it feels like, wow, I'm in a testing zone. I'm in a testing ground. But it's all about that. Are you ready to walk through the flames of purification? Are you ready to bring the things in your life into those flames of purification? Because in order to amp up your own central pillar and have all of that electromagnetic spark match the fuel so that it can merge and bring you into your creative manifestation abilities. Like, you are powerful creators. It's how we were designed in our original blueprint. We've not been able to access that. We've been getting closer and closer and closer, especially in the last decade, as people started realizing, like, manifestation and the tools to do that, and intention and the power of intention. Well, those were like stepping stones. Those were like the first ABCs of that. We're now on like the RSTUV. We're getting towards the end of the alphabet of it. All happens naturally when your electromagnetic field is ramped up, amped up, and in its full alignment. then you naturally are like a magnet of electromagnetic energy to what matches that. And that's where you start seeing instant manifestation of your true heart's desires, because it's a direct pull towards you. And it's not about intention. It's not about like, oh, I want to like my vision board of like this car or this whatever. Those can work, but it's really about like heart desire, like wanting a creative project, wanting a partnership, wanting to develop something or bring it into a business. Those things that are aligned with your heart space, boom, that electromagnetic field, as you keep moving forward into these upper spirals. That's what the flame dragons and the solar lightning dragons and the solar dragons are really ramping up for us right now. And they're coming in now on the heels of this activation on the 21st that completed on the 28th that I talked about in the last weeks. That is your cohesion point. And you may not be ready at your event horizon for it yet, but I guarantee if you go back and listen to those when you feel called to, or do the solstice meditation again when you feel called to, you're going to feel another gateway open. You're going to feel another ramp and push forward into that expansion. So it's super exciting to me. And I love that, Elijah, I thank you for asking the question, for being so astute and aware in your energetic practice that you picked up on that you're like, hey, wait a minute. What's going on, Araya? Because whether it's a beginner level question with the dragons or one of these coming from one of my dragon hearts like Elijah, who are like so attuned, this is where these discussions can happen and move all of us forward, right? Because even in sharing it, in synthesizing the information, that's what I do. I weave signals and information as a translator. All this stuff sits in one field, and then what I do, it's just like part of me. It's part of my signature structure of what my gifts are. It just starts weaving together, and then I see the bigger picture, and I'm like, oh, this is how I can explain that and make it simplified for those that are ready for that information, because they don't need to have like this big series of what's like light language signals coming in that I do. But they need a translation into a language that they can hear or feel or see, and to translate that into the like bodily, like, okay, got it. I've cognized it. It's coming in, and now I can really open to receive it fully. Sometimes that it's available, but we can receive it more quickly and more fully when we're conscious of it. So love that question. Love this. This is the first live of 2024, and what an exciting discussion to have brought forward of not only the energies present, but really more the depth of information that was able to be shared. Whole new lineages of dragons that they've been around since last March, but it's time now, like they're ready to be really well known. And in that sense, I just actually updated a post that I did for New Year's with this beautiful 2024 dragon picture. And it was something that came in as a thought for some reason as I was sitting with this information. And I was seeing other similar posts in the group. Something rose in me. I was like, wait, let's be sure everyone's really aware, because the true dragon energies are really coming in hard and fast. Sounds like an odd expression, but they're really ramping up. And that's to kick everyone over the edge, to kick everyone into their awakening, into their full like spiral up of evolution, because the ascension stairway is there. Like the first step, the exit sign for those that are ready to move into that full ascension has started. Like the gateway is open. So they're very ready. And how interesting that we're moving into a year of the wood dragon as this is aligning. Of course, there's no accidents. It's all synchronicity and perfect alignment, right? But I want everyone to be really discerning and really aware as mainstream picks up on Year of the Dragon. I guarantee you there's going to be so many t-shirts, so many Starbucks drinks or coffee drinks or sushi, it's been trickling in over the last 6 years. I've watched it, and I love that it's getting more mainstream, and there will be more dragon movies, I'm sure, because they need to be introduced to the masses in that way. But with your own level of information, I'm encouraging everyone to stay on your level of discernment with information that starts to get out, because even in spiritual and new age circles, there are those that jump on bandwagons because it gets views or it gets clicks or it gets them readings or whatever it is. I'm not saying they're all invalid. I'm saying really use your discernment and help others learn discernment to know the true dragon energy, because when it gets watered down or picked up by those that are energetically not maybe fully aligned, you know, as I always say, every channel is only as good as their own wounded filters. And I've watched my own channel get more and more accurate over the years as I keep learning more and evolving. And, you know, everybody's at a different point in their path with that. And I love that people are opening to their channel capacity. I love that they're really expanding into what is beyond this physical realm. But there will be many that jump on that don't necessarily have a true connection to dragon energy. And granted, there are many, many more that will, and I'm excited about that because there's so many that need to awaken to it. But just be really discerning to help others discern. And when you see information out there that's maybe not perfectly aligned or like presents something that you know isn't quite the truth of the dragons, add yours in, add that truth in, add it as a comment to a post or a suggestion in an inbox or an email to that person or that provider of whatever retail stuff it is. Say, you know, you're presenting the dragons as really fierce or this or that, when in fact they're the most unconditionally loving beings in the universe. So feel powerful in asserting the truth of the dragons as it comes more mainstream. Because all of us need to be vigilant and discerning on behalf of the dragons, especially, ooh, my body's tingling on this is what's important, especially those that are dragon, to help others really understand the dragon lineage. And you may not feel comfortable in your skin yet or fully merged with your dragon yet to be able to say like I do of, yeah, I'm a dragon. It's it's an energy that is my soul signature, and I have a lot of information about them and I can share it with you, but they are absolutely 100% loving and feeling empowered to correct those things as the year unfolds where you see it being taken advantage of and maybe skewed or not presented accurately. So I don't know why that just wanted to be said at the beginning of the year, and super excited about the information with the solar lightning and the solar and the flared flame dragons that was coming in to share today. So I'm going to wish you guys a beautiful 2 weeks. I will see you in 2 weeks. I am off on my vacation. I'm super excited, packed, ready to go. We head off in the wee hours tomorrow. And so you won't see me next week unless, like, if there's something that happens, like at the ocean, there's water dragons presenting or in the skies or whatever, I will, of course, come on and share that. But otherwise, I will see you on the other side of my getaway, and sending you huge dragon hugs. I love my dragon family. Thank you, Elijah, for that question. And the all of you guys that bring questions in, I love them. It's actually how we keep moving forward, because a lot of times I'm in such a merged place with my dragon that I don't necessarily ask the questions anymore. And when I can ask them, like, incredible amounts of information come through that are really helpful to a lot of people. So I love those questions. Feel free to email them anytime. And I will look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks. Bye for now.